If you're really struggling to hit through your shots, I'm going to help you with that in this video, because I see a lot of videos, I've seen a lot of lessons where the coach is telling players they need to hit through the ball, but I find a lot of the time the coach isn't explaining the underlying reason why the player can't hit through the ball. So that's what I'm going to do in this video, and then I'm going to give you a series of different resources that you can use to help fix the underlying problem. So hopefully you find it helpful. If you do, it'd be great if you give me a thumbs up, and if you haven't subscribed to my channel before, it's always much appreciated if you could do that as well. So if you've been working with a coach or you've been watching lots of coaching videos, the chances are that you've heard or been told that you need to hit through the ball more, or potentially your coach might talk about extending through your shots. What they're trying to get you to do is they're trying to get you to have a cleaner contact with the ball. So ideally using your kinetic chain more effectively to create the racket head speed, ideally meeting the ball out in front of you, and then having a slightly longer contact. So keeping the strings and the racket more square with the ball just for a little bit longer. You know, because of the shape of the swing, it can't be too long because the racket has to come round and follow through eventually. But what they're trying to prevent you from doing is they're trying to prevent you from arming the ball or kind of pulling off the ball or snatching at the ball, or a lot of the different things that players do that prevent them from hitting the ball cleanly. So coaches try and explain it in different ways, but there's an underlying cause for all of these issues like pulling off the ball, etc., and not being able to hit through the ball, not being able to extend, and that's your timing. So what we're describing here is timing, and it's really important to understand, because I don't think this gets explained enough, that if you're hitting the ball late, you can't extend through the ball. You can't hit through the ball in the way that coaches want you to. Like, you can hit through the ball if the contact is out there, but if it's back here, you can't hit through the ball properly. That's why you see high-level players, when the ball's a little bit further back, they change the shape of the swing, and instead of hitting through and following a through round there, they then hit up the back of the ball and they finish with the buggy whip style finish, because you can't hit through if the ball is too far back. So if you're too late on your shot, so if you're not able to hit through the ball, you're not able to extend through the ball, it's the timing part that you need to fix. So what I'm going to do for the rest of this video is explain just a little bit more about timing and give you resources to fix different components of timing. So timing is all about your ability to sequence your kinetic chain correctly and to be able to make contact with the ball in as ideal a position possible relative to your body. So you've driven through your hip, then your torso, then your arm coming through, and you've created the racket head speed in time to then meet the ball and maybe throw the racket a little bit to meet the ball out in front of the body. Now that will change slightly depending on your strokes. So the contact point on your forehand or your backhand, whether it's a two-hander or a one-hander, or if you're hitting slice, the contact point is going to be a little bit further back. But for each of those shots, there's going to be a more ideal contact point, and that's what you're aiming for. So there's two components to timing. There's a visual component of being able to read the ball so that you can start your swing at the right time, and there's a coordination component of being able to adjust and sequence your kinetic chain so that you can do what you need to do and hit the shot effectively and get that ideal contact point position. So in order to fix timing, there's a lot of different things that you might need to do. The first one, and the first cause of late timing, is late preparation. If you don't react quickly enough, if you don't set up in time for your shot quickly enough, that's the number one reason for kind of most lower level players having poor timing. They're simply not ready and set up in the right position in time. So instead of me going into that in detail here, I'm just going to point you to another resource that's going to teach you how you can train and fix issues that you've got with preparation, because there's kind of 3 or 4 steps that you need to go through for fixing late preparation. So I'll place a link to that video down in the description so that you can watch that and start to work on it, because you have to fix late preparation before you can fix timing. Now, something that goes along with both of these pieces is that potentially you might get a little bit too close to the ball. So if you're too close to the ball, sometimes that can have the same effect as being late, and it can prevent you from hitting through it. So that's a factor, but I'll cover that in the preparation video as well. So first thing, fixing late preparation. From there, things get a little bit more complicated. Now, there's a lot of stuff that you can do on court in terms of your timing. The quick version is that you need to visualize the flight of the ball. You need to predict when and where the ball is going to arrive so that you can start your swing at the right time and then meet the ball in the right position. So a lot of coaches talk about start your swing as the ball bounces, and that does work in a lot of instances, but there are also various different types of shot where it doesn't work, where if you start the swing when the ball bounces, you're going to miss the shot, or you're going to be way too early on the shot. So that's often a little bit too simplistic. So you need to think about the flight of the ball and think about the ideal contact point in a little bit more detail. And again, I've got a video that's going to show you a process, a practice structure that you can use to help fix this underlying problem. So it's going to show you how you can get on court and set up your training in a way to help you improve your ability to start your swing at the right time. So I'll put that in the description as well. The next thing that we have to deal with is the visual side of things. So we've got the preparation, we've got the good quality on-court practice, but ultimately, if your visual system isn't capable of accurately judging distance, judging depth, and reading the spin and the speed and the flight of the ball, it doesn't matter how much on-court practice you do, you'll never be able to fix your timing. Like if someone drop feeds you and puts it in front, you'll be able to do it. Or if a coach feeds it into the same spot every time, or if the ball machine puts it in the same spot every time, you'll be able to compensate and you'll be able to time your shots well some of the time. But when you play points, when you play matches, if your visual system doesn't work well enough, it's just too much for your brain to handle, and that's why so many players, they're okay in practice, but then when they start playing matches, that's when they're not able to hit through the ball properly. So potentially you might need to do a lot of work on your visual system to get it functioning at a high enough level for you to be able to time the ball cleanly and for you to be able to hit through the ball effectively. So again, I'll place a link down in the description to a video that's going to show you how to train and improve specific visual skills that are going to improve your timing on court. Because then the final piece that we've got is going to be the coordination. If you want to be able to sequence your kinetic chain correctly, you've got to understand the technique. There's thousands of videos that talk about how to sequence your kinetic chain, how to hit the forehand, backhand, and slice. But if you're not coordinated enough to do that, it doesn't matter how much you practice, it's only going to take you so far. And to be able to have high level timing, it requires a tremendous amount of coordination. In addition to the vision, this is one of the big reasons why players, they improve, but then they can't get past a certain point. Like you just don't get many players that start playing tennis later in life that end up becoming a 5.0 player because they don't have the levels of coordination. The good news though is you can actually train and improve your coordination, and I've got another video that's going to teach you how to do that, so I'll place a link to that video in the description as well. So I wanted to keep this very high level just to help you understand what's going on. If you can't hit through the ball, the main problem is you're late on contact, your timing is late, you have to make sure you're not preparing late. You have to do good quality on-court practice, visualizing and thinking about the contact point. You have to have a visual system that's capable of reading distance and depth. And then of course, you have to have the coordination to be able to make it all happen. So you've got 4 different resources down in the description that you can start to check out. If you've got any questions or comments about this, leave them down below and I'll get back to you as quick as I can. But I do want you to understand it's a process. Timing is one of the hardest things in tennis. It's what separates out the different levels of player. So if you find that you don't have amazing timing right away when you start to implement these things, that's okay. You're going to have to do thousands and thousands of repetitions of these different things before you're able to make really significant progress and make those things stick in matches. So it's always good to keep that in mind, because I find a lot of players feel like they're doing something wrong when they can't do it immediately, but that's not the case. It really does take time to learn these different skills, so just be patient, keep plugging away at them, and if you keep working on things consistently, keep improving how your body functions, you'll keep on improving. Okay? Hopefully you've enjoyed the video and found it helpful. I'll catch you next time.